And now, here's Mike Muse with the political news.
So let's get right to it and meet the candidates.
That completes the opening statements.
We're going to get right to it.
On Sway in the Morning.
Citizens, it's Tracy G right here, joined by our guest host, the one and only wild king of the wild. Freaking Who Kid is awake. He's here with us. You still good, Who Kid?
WUN, you know the word. You know
why
the
don't you tell Mike Muse what that stands for?
Hashtag WUN, you know what I'm saying?
I love it.
You sound like a nice political black guy. So you ready for it?
I'm a nice guy. Yeah.
Wake up, niggas. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be too gangster for you, man. I'll get a little Gap for you. You know what I'm saying? I get a little Abercrombie for you. You know what I'm saying?
You don't know the dualities of Mike Muse. Mike Muse is gangster as hell too.
I could talk white all day, man.
Well, Mike Muse could talk white, you could talk black, but he makes sure that it's all within the frame of politics.
Yes.
Mike Muse, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm excited to have Who Kid sit in on this political segment, man.
Cool, man.
Yes.
It's going to be awesome.
Especially since we're all somewhat fully recovered from the rants of Kanye and him jumping into sort of the political ring. We'll go into that more when it comes to Celebrity Wire. But I know a major highlight over the weekend, Mike Muse, was the White House Correspondents Dinner.
Absolutely, man. The White House Correspondents Dinner has caused such a stir. Guys, it is a tradition, though. It's a tradition that dates back from previous administrations. So this isn't new underneath the Trump administration era. It's a time when the journalists get a chance to be free. The idea of it is to be free, let loose, have a good time. There's a lot of Hollywood celebrities that attend. And every year, the president attends as well. But this administration, President Trump, has not attended a White House Correspondents Dinner yet. He has opted out for the second year in a row. There's always a comedian that is essentially, it's a roast, really. And they raise money for funds and scholarship. And they give awards for journalists. But essentially, it's a roast of the media. It's a chance for them to laugh at themselves and for them to roast the administration, whoever is in the Oval Office. But in turn, the president also, too, roasts them back.
Okay.
Right? So the president, in turn, roasts the journalists. They roast any, high headlines that have happened throughout the years. And so this year caused a little bit of a stir with this comedian, Michelle Wolf. And I've got to be honest with you guys, I really wasn't familiar with Michelle Wolf.
Same here.
Until she went viral after her remarks. And here are some of the things that she had to say.
I actually really like Sarah. I think she's very resourceful. Like, she burns facts, and then she uses that ash to create a perfect smoky eye. Like, maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's lies. It's probably lies.
Oh, man.
And I'm never really sure what to call Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Is it Sarah Sanders? Is it Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Is it Cousin Huckabee? Is it Auntie Huckabee Sanders? Like, what's Uncle Tom but for white women who disappoint other white women? Oh, I know, Aunt Coulter.
Woo, she went deep.
She did.
But it's the White House Correspondents Dinner, and it's supposed to be a sparring of jokes, yeah?
It is. It literally is a roast. And so that is a clip that got the most, that went viral the most, if you will, over the weekend. People found that to be really offensive, and they felt that it went too far, if you will.
Is it a particular type of people group? Was it more like conservatives, or do you think from both sides?
At both sides.
Okay.
Conservatives and Republicans were very offended by her comedic musings, as well as progressives and liberals and Democrats were also upset by her musings too as well.
Damn.
But here is the irony of it all, is that she didn't just focus on Sarah Sanders or Trump. Here's also too what she said about the liberal media.
We've got our friends at CNN here. Welcome, guys. It's great to have you. You guys love breaking news, and you did it. You broke it. Good work. The most useful information on CNN is when Anthony Bourdain tells me where to eat noodles. I watch Morning Joe every morning. We now know that Mika and Joe are engaged. Congratulations, you guys. It's like when a Me Too works out.
Oh my God, am I a bad person for finding this hilarious?
A lot of people laughed in the audience, Who Kid and Tracy G, and so this really is your perspective on it.
You know I'm laughing.
Yeah. But not only did she talk about those individuals, she talked about Congress. She said Congress is doing nothing. They're not active. selective, and they were sitting right in the room. Talking about Roy Moore, Michael Cohen, Paul Ryan. She talked about Hillary Clinton's failings, not going to Michigan. She talked about Harvey Weinstein. She talked about Mike Pence, Anderson Cooper. Al Franklin, Ted Kennedy. Talked about Starbucks, Mitch McConnell, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So nobody was safe in this. So it wasn't like she just singled out the president.
So imagine if Trump was there. Like, she really had it ready for Trump like that.
She had it in for Trump, but she also had it in for everyone else, from liberal media to the conservative media to congressmen to Starbucks. Nobody was safe when it comes to this. And so what I'm curious about, though, is where is our moral compass, right, as we begin to sit in the center of this conversation, right? Like, President Trump sits in the highest ground in the Oval Office, and that has always been the moral standard, if you will, for our country and our identity, if you will. And President Trump has said outlandish things about a lot of people. He goes on record and calls people liars, right? Where the news media, we're not allowed to use the word liar. We have to say the facts aren't as accurate, right? But then he's also talked about looks. He talked about Mika. He talked about Megyn Kelly. He talked about Rosie O'Donnell. He talks about the Miss America. He talked about their weight, right? And so he also talks about all these other things too as well. But yet this is what we choose to be outraged over. And so my question is to you, Who Kid, and to Tracy G, and to our listeners is, what is our moral compass here? What is acceptable politics, if you will, right? Is it acceptable for President Trump to say these things, but not for a comedian, right? And should the media be up in arms the way that they are with this conversation?
I'm totally here for that.
Now more of the daily news on Sway in the Morning.
I actually really like Sarah. I think she's very resourceful. Like, she burns facts, and then she uses that ash to create a perfect smoky eye. Like, maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's lies. It's probably lies. And I'm never really sure what to call Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Is it Sarah Sanders? Is it Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Is it Cousin Huckabee? Is it Auntie Huckabee Sanders? Like, what's Uncle Tom but for white women who disappoint other white women? I know, Aunt Coulter.
Whoop! Citizens, 41 minutes past the top of the hour. We are front and center when it comes to political news with Mike Muse. And right there was Michelle Wolf, who is kind of the highlight or the low light, depending on how you want to see it, from the White House Correspondents Dinner. Baby, she's a hyena, too. Who knows? But she is my new favorite polarizing comedian, and that led to Mike Muse asking, because she received so much flack, but we also have Donald Trump, who could be a comedian in a sense as well. Like, how are we looking at our moral compass as a society, right, Mike Muse?
Absolutely.
So, citizens, we put out that question for you. We want you to pour your opinions our way. So let's hear from Emily from Baltimore. Real quick, how you feel?
Hi, good morning, guys. Good. So I just wanted to say, I was actually flipping channels, and it just happened to come on, and I saw her speech. And I thought, wow, that's a lot going on. It's a little messy, but then you think about it, like, Donald Trump has a nickname for every single person that's ever opposed him, and he constantly makes fun of people on Twitter. So at this point, I don't feel like anything's off limits anymore. Say what you want. Once the president says anything that comes to his mind, why should a comedian hold back?
I feel you on that, Emily. And I think it also has to do with context. Like, we just heard exactly what the White House Correspondents Dinner is supposed to be, which is basically like a roast. So that was the right environment for that, versus when Trump is just speaking on policy, speaking about meetings, and it's not within the frames of comedy.
Exactly. And to Emily's point, the New York Times put out 446 items that Trump has said things negative about and the people he's talked about, all the way from LeVar Ball calling him just a poor man's version of Don King. He called him an ungrateful fool. He called Steve Bannon Sloppy Steve, cried when he got fired, dumped him like a dog, almost everyone. He's talked about Joe Biden, called him a crazy Joe, don't threaten people, Joe, inciting kind of almost a fight, if you will. But interesting enough, Mika Brzezinski, who was actually mentioned by Michelle Wolf yesterday, who comes from MSNBC. Most people believe that as a progressive, liberal-leaning network. Called her dumb as rocks, crazy, low IQ, and was bleeding badly from the facelift. And so what's happening now, Tracy G and Who Kid, is that there is this outcry to have Michelle Wolf apologize. And there's also this outcry for the media media and the Washington Correspondents Association to also issue an apology, particularly to Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And that's the reason why I kind of issued this question on the moral compass, because, well, then in flip, should Sarah Huckabee Sanders at this press conference that she does in her press briefings every day then apologize to each and every individual on behalf of the president for making these type of comments, right?
Yeah, but don't the White House like regulate like what the comedians they don't get the jokes first and clear it? Like,
Yo, I'm so glad you asked that question.
That's kind of weird that you just let like someone just come in and OD and the president's there or supposed to be there.
That's a really great question.
Duh.
The thing about it is the White House
Dumbass
actually
motherfuckers.
doesn't control the White House Correspondents Dinner. It just has the White House in the title, but it's really for journalists who cover politics.
it's
and
just
kind of
like
thing.
Eazy-E.
So it's a different association. So it's not affiliated with the White House. But
Remember when Eazy-E came to the White House, but he put Eric White, and then when he got there, he was a gangster rapper with chains. Like, these motherfuckers are stupid up there, man.
Do your research.
I'm gonna blow that shit up.
Emily, all of that to say, we totally get your point. Thank you for calling in, hon. Have a
See
beautiful
ya.
day. Okay, Aaron from Memphis. How do you feel about this, Aaron?
Well, the way I feel about it, man, Donald Trump is our president, and we just got to deal with that. He's a fucking idiot, like, honestly. I mean, it's like, the way I look at Donald Trump is the same way I look at Captain Crunch on the cereal box. Like, he doesn't have shit to do with me. So, like, the way I look at it, man, she's a comedian. She's doing what she does. That's her job, to make people laugh. So why the fuck is everybody so damn sensitive? Like,
It's a roast, for Christ's sakes.
whatever the fuck he wants about anybody, and nobody says shit to Donald Trump. But let a regular comedian go out there doing her thing. I thought the shit was funny as hell.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I was crying laughing.
Same. You heard me, Aaron, and that's understandable. She's meeting her job requirements. So basically got you on that. Aaron, thank you. I want to get another opinion real quick. Let's head over to Baltimore. Daniel, speak to us.
Hey, how's it going, y'all?
hey,
Doing
Daniel.
good.
Hey, first of all, DJ Who Kid, man, I love those G-Unit mixtapes back in the day.
Good looking, man. Good looking, dogs.
Yeah, appreciate that. But yeah, in terms of this press conference or dinner, I mean, I think what the host was saying is right. I mean, she really didn't leave anybody safe from her jokes. So in that regard, I mean, of course, the Republicans are getting a little heated. They're hurt about it. Even though she mostly did focus on them, to be fair. The only thing I thought maybe was a little offensive to some people would be the abortion comments. But what the previous caller was saying is that, it is comedy. I almost had to check myself because I get mad sometimes. I'm like, man, like comedy's getting too PC or whatever. It's like, people should be able to laugh at anything and not be offended. So, I mean, like, but also at the same time, I mean, like this, like Trump, Russia stuff, like in their age of information, I feel like everything is just hitting us at 1,000 miles an hour. And we're going to get lost in the sauce if we keep, like every day focusing so hard, like it's the end of the world on like each event. I feel like collectively as a country, we're going to go crazy. So, I mean, I feel like everybody in general just needs to like slow it down and chill a little bit.
Very, very valid points, Daniel. I completely got you on that. Thank you. And you are a citizen of Sway in the Morning. Finally, real quick, because he's been holding on to the line. Kevin, just super, super quick. Let us know how you feel. Kevin from Wisconsin.
What up, Kevin?
Yeah, what's going on? Hey, thank you for getting me on real quick. I just wanted to say, it's funny that, the politics are getting all upset just because she was ribbing on everybody. But it seemed like people in power always can't take their own shit. Like, they dish out a lot of shit, but they can't take the shit. Like, why is it such an issue? She was just doing her comedy routine. She was speaking facts, and it is what it is. I mean, if you don't want to get told about your dirt, don't do dirt.
Ooh.
That was quick.
Accuracy. Mic drop.
Wow.
Thank you, Kevin. Have an amazing Monday.
Thanks, Kevin.
Appreciate those thoughts. Go ahead, Mike Muse.
Interesting. Really quickly, before we move on, I'm also surprised at why individuals aren't outraged about Paul Ryan, who was a Republican Speaker of the House.
Talk about
Paul
it.
Ryan also had a skit at the White House Correspondents Dinner where he talked about what he's going to do post his retirement, if you will, and talk about the former Speaker, Speaker Boehner. He showed a text between the two of them, and what it was a text about weed and smoking.
Oh wow,
right?
real text?
Yes, it wasn't a real text. It was a skit, right? But it was the emoji icon for weed was sent in the phone and then displayed it, almost promoting weed too as well, because Speaker Boehner is actually investing in a new weed company, if you will, and so it's almost as if Paul Ryan is promoting weed. And so I was wondering where was the outrage about that in terms of him promoting weed. And so again, we're selective in our outrage, and I'm just curious about are we going to be outraged about everybody, and everyone, or just in particular this particular case?
Outraged when it's convenient to be outraged. Yeah, no, I totally Totally got you on that. Well, you know what? Let's speak about two people who are outraged with each other, but then they were able to come together. So North Korea and South Korea. But I also know you wanted to mention about the Michigan rally with Trump, yeah?
Yeah, it's really important. President Trump also had a rally on Saturday. It was almost competing optics between the White House Correspondents Dinner and the rally that he had in Michigan. And here is what he had to say at the rally.
Politicians have fallen for this junk. Russian collusion. Give me a break. I'll tell you, the only collusion is the Democrats colluded with the Russians, and the Democrats colluded with lots of other people. Take a look at the intelligence agencies. We need to drain the swamp. We need to vote against guys like John Tester that can destroy a man with innuendo. And we have to be very careful with the press because they do the same damn thing.
So there is tough rhetoric from President Trump at the same day as the tough rhetoric came from the White House Correspondents Dinner, but it doesn't seem to be outraged with him again. That's why I want to really just hear from the citizens in terms of how do we square it, if you will. President Trump also went on to talk about other things. Tracy Jean Who Kid, he talked about the wall. He is convinced that come September is going to be another round of funding that will extend the wall even further. He celebrated Kanye West and thanked him again for all that he's done for his administration.
That tight-ass hat.
And for really understanding about economics. He talked about firing James Comey. His Trump supporters believe he receive a Nobel Peace Prize for what's happening over in North Korea. And he really laid down the roadmap, Tracy Jean Who Kid, about how he's going to be campaigning for the midterm elections. And so this rally was essentially a kickoff in terms of how he's going to be out on the campaign trail in 2018 for that. And so a lot of it came out. So citizens, I highly encourage you to watch that speech in its entirety.
Yeah.
So you can really hear what his direction is going forward.
Yeah, but thank you for the spark notes on that, Mike Muse.
Yes.
Okay, to end on an up and up, even though there might be some fine print to this union, but talk to me about North Korea and South Korea, because I've been doing just a lot of research on this, hearing about the stories of the families that were divided and are now coming together, and it's been really warming my heart. But on the other side of it, there's a little suspicion that's coming.
Yeah, and so this is really, it's almost like one of those perfect storms that's kind of happening from a couple of different sides and a couple of different reasons.
Yeah.
So as we all know, North Korea and citizens, we talked about this every week, so I don't have to bring you up to speed too much. As we all know, there's been a divide between North Korea and South Korea. As we all know, President Kim Jong-un has been actively searching for nuclear weapon arms. As I've always said, that he's always wanted North Korea to be a nuclear country. He thought that at that point he will receive respect from the other countries and people want to listen to him. And it looks like he has achieved that, in his opinion. He believes that North Korea has come to the point now where they are a nuclear power. The South Korean president, President Moon, has been more the progressive side of South Korean presidents in the past. So he's actually wanted to sit down with Kim Jong-un and the president of Korea, where South Korean presidents has never wanted to do in that sense as well. I got to give commentary to President Trump, too, as well. The pressure and the rhetoric that President Trump has put on, escalating the dynamic and heightening awareness of will we have any warfare between North Korea and the U.S., essentially that involves South Korea, because all the missiles are pointing to South Korea. And so it looks like it's been almost a coming together of all those type of elements and factors have led us to this moment that we saw on Friday, with the two sides of North Korea coming together and saying we want to end this Korean war. North Korean President Kim Jong-un has said that he's also too wants to allow individuals to come to view the testing sites of his nuclear missiles. Some have said that it was already broken already, so it's just a ploy, if you will. But he also even went further to say that he wants the time. And follow me, House citizens, get this. North Korea right now, as it stands, they want to be so different from South Korea. They actually have set their time zone to be a half hour behind South Korea.
Wow.
Talk about an act of petty, right? But now, as the end of it, he wants all the times to be together. So he wants to bring North Korea's time zone up to South Korean time zone. And so we're definitely going to see this Korean peninsula, if you will, coming together. I mean, I don't want to go overstep it. I don't want to put, the skis out in front of me, but it looks like there is going to be some movement between North Korea and South Korea coming together at some point. I do not know. But citizens, what I'm going to be keeping you informed of weeks to come is how China's going to feel about this. China does not want North Korea and South Korea to come together as one. That affects them militarily and strategically and economically. So I'm on the watch for China right now.
That's crazy. So that means I DJ all over the world. So one day I might be DJing and out there with Jimmy Young, whatever his name is. What's that nigga name?
Yeah, Kim Jong-un.
Jimmy Young.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
You and Dennis Rodman, bro.
Nah, I ain't fucking with no Dennis Rodman.
Right.
Man.
Help us keep the peace, Who Kid.
Touch my ass.
It's up to you, man. If Sway was here, he would say the black man is God. You use your powers wisely. Well, thank you very much, Mike Muse.
Thank you, guys.
Always appreciate that brain of yours. So for the citizens that want to continue this conversation with you, where can they find?
They can find me at I am Mike Muse, M-U-S-S-M-E on Twitter and Instagram. And it's an honor to have Who Kids sitting on the political segment with me,
you can
bro.
chop it up, man. You know, I had Trump up here for Drug Dealer Weekend. We need to talk about that.
Oh,
that's what I was showing you on the video.
Oh, you know, I was trying to concentrate, but I'm going to watch you on the next
you
break,
my
man.
nigga, man. You my nigga, yeah.
I'm a bad multitasker.
It's okay. Sorry. I got you, man.
I love it. And up next, OQ, you've got our sports report.
LeBron James.
Okay.
Saw something to me.